Thank you for those who are attending tonight's meeting. We're just waiting for our interpreters to join our webinar so we can initiate the Spanish channel.
Is there an agenda for the meeting?
Yes. So this is the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, I could use a couple.
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you all for your patience. We do have our interpreters that will be promoting and initiating the Spanish translation channel. If you can give us all just a few more moments, and we'll have our chair start the meeting. Thank you.
There's plenty of seats if you want to take a seat.
I'd like to ask the interpreter, currently on the Spanish channel, to commence interpretation of the meeting. For those just joining the meeting, live interpretation in Spanish is available in person and virtually. Members of the public or staff who are on Zoom wishing to listen in Spanish can join the Spanish channel by clicking the interpretation icon in the Zoom toolbar. It looks like a globe. If you are on your cell phone or tablet, locate the 3 dots, tap them lightly, and put a check mark on your preferred language. Click Done to activate and begin your interpretation. Once you join the Spanish channel, we recommend you shut off the main audio so you can only hear the Spanish interpretation. Those who are in the chamber and wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please take a receiver from the back of the room, from Kasia at the desk, and turn to channel 2. Interpreter, will you please restate this in Spanish?
Para quienes se acaban de unir a la reunión, hay interpretación en vivo en español disponible tanto de forma presencial como virtual. Los miembros del público o del personal que estén en Zoom y deseen escuchar en español pueden unirse al canal en español haciendo clic en el icono de interpretación en la barra de herramientas de Zoom. Tiene la forma de un globo terráqueo. Si están usando un celular o una tableta, busquen los 3 puntos, toquen ligeramente sobre ellos y marquen su idioma preferido. Hagan clic en Listo para activar y comenzar la interpretación. Una vez que se unan al canal en español, les recomendamos que desactiven el audio principal para que solo escuchen la interpretación en español. Aquellos que se encuentren en la sala y deseen escuchar la interpretación en español, por favor tomen un auricular de la parte de atrás de la sala y sincronizarlo con el canal 2. Gracias. Thank you.
Chair.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the August 13th, 2026 meeting of the Planning Commission to order, and if we could have roll, please.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Carter?
Here.
Commissioner Cisco?
Here.
Commissioner Horton?
Here.
Commissioner Pardo is absent. Commissioner Sanders?
Here.
Vice Chair Duggan?
Here.
Chair Weeks?
Here.
Let the record reflect that all commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Pardo.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to item 2, remote participation, of which there is none. We have one set of minutes, July 9th. Are there any changes, corrections? Okay, none. Then those will be approved as submitted. And then we'll go on right now to the public comment portion. And this is the time when we are taking public comments on non-agenda matters. If you have something you'd like to say on a matter that is not on the agenda, please make your way to one of the podiums and you'll have 3 minutes. Seeing no one rise, we'll go ahead and close the public comment item on non-agenda matters. So we move on to commission business and our statement of purpose. We are charged with carrying out the California planning and zoning laws in the city of Santa Rosa. Duties include implementation of plans, ordinances, and policies relating to land use matters, assisting in writing and implementing the general plan and area plans, holding public hearings and acting on proposed changes to the zoning code, zoning map, general plan, tentative subdivision maps, and undertaking special planning studies as needed. And before we proceed, I'd like to briefly go over the Brown Act meeting procedures. As each item is introduced, the public will have an opportunity to speak during the public comment or public hearing portion of that item. Each speaker may comment once per item for up to 3 minutes. During the public comment period, the commissioners do not engage in back and forth discussions with the speakers. After everyone who wishes to speak has had an opportunity to do so, I, as chair, will close the public comment period for that item. And once public comment is closed, there will not be another opportunity for comments or questions from the public on that same item. Any further discussion or deliberation will be limited at that time to the commissioners, staff, and project applicants. So with that, we'll move on to commissioner reports. Are there any commissioner reports? Okay, seeing none. We have nothing under item 5.3, so we'll move to Ms. Jones for a department report, if there is one.
Good afternoon, Chair Weeks, members of the Commission. Jessica Jones, Deputy Director of Planning. I do not have a report for today.
Thank you. Any statements of abstentions or recusals? Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to our study session item. And it's item 8.1, a study session, South Santa Rosa specific plan, draft preferred alternative, file number ST23-004. And I'm not sure if it's, who will start us off?
Good afternoon, Chair Weeks and members of the Planning Commission. Let me share my screen. Cool. Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Weeks, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Connor McKay. I'm a senior planner with the Planning Division. Very excited to be here this afternoon to present the draft preferred alternative for the South Santa Rosa specific plan. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the process of what a specific plan is, but just as a reminder, the South Santa Rosa specific plan is a grant-funded long-range planning document that will include land use and infrastructure changes in the general South Santa Rosa area, in addition to specific goals and policies for the area. So I will discuss what work we have performed so far with the project and then describe the draft preferred alternative itself, and then move on to the next steps in the specific plan process. Okay, so as many of you might remember, we did have a study session on the land use and circulation alternatives report with the Planning Commission on February 26th. And then that basically, along with the outreach that was performed with the alternatives and the study sessions that we had with the Commission and the Council, we prepared and released a draft preferred alternative. And we have since held a virtual workshop, and we're conducting ongoing outreach, trying to get feedback on this preferred alternative. And the study session that we're holding today is part of that effort as well. We do have an online survey that is also ongoing, and we are presenting to the City Council on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, August 18th, in addition to the County of Sonoma Board of Supervisors on August 25th. Once we finalize the preferred alternative, in the next several months, we will actually prepare the specific plan itself and create those goals and policies and an implementation strategy. We'll also be preparing an environmental impact report for public release later on this year, and eventually the plan would be adopted in spring of 2027 by the City Council. here we have an overall schedule overview, and you'll see the gold star is where we are right now. And then I'll just kind of mention that this is a 2-year process, and we're a little bit over halfway throughout the process. But towards the end of the year, there'll be many milestones that I'll cover later on in my presentation. Okay, so just to kind of rehash what the alternatives were. So as I mentioned, we did a lot of visioning exercises with the community and took feedback about people's lived experiences and came up with 3 alternatives that tried to address issues that residents of the plan area are experiencing in addition to achieving their vision for their community. And then I'll go through each of the 3 alternatives kind of in general detail. So the first alternative was a mixed-use corridor. This envisioned a high-density mixed-use district on the southern portion of Santa Rosa Avenue. And then it also had a large park towards the east portion of the plan area that is surrounded by lower density residential development. And that low density residential is consistent throughout each of the 3 alternatives. And then alternative number 2 is city-centered growth, and that really focuses on redevelopment of lower density designations to the north side of the plan area surrounding the Costco shopping center, leveraging the existing large built-out commercial center and creating walkability opportunities for folks, for new and existing residents of that area of the plan area. And then the third alternative was the centers, and that kind of takes the mixed-use approach from the first alternative and scales it down quite a bit and focuses it more on the southern end of the Santa Rosa Avenue corridor, and then takes the southern city-centered growth approach, southern portion of the city-centered growth approach from the second alternative, and also it includes that same higher density residential development as well. And then you'll note the second alternative does contemplate increasing residential density in the southern portion of the Moreland neighborhood. And then the third alternative contemplates removing some industrial designations from an underutilized portion west of Andy Lopez Park and changing that into medium density residential. Okay, so I've talked about it just a little bit, but we did conduct a broad range of different styles and formats of outreach for the alternatives and the draft preferred alternatives so far. We did hold in-person and virtual workshops. As I mentioned, we had study sessions with the Planning Commission and City Council and the Sonoma County Planning Commission, in addition to meetings with community-based organizations and other boards and commissions, advisory boards with the City of Santa Rosa. We also created some social media posts. You'll see a screenshot of a Facebook post here on the right side of the screen. We also created a very, very fun and interactive Instagram reel, which I was quite excited about, both in English and Spanish. Just trying to spread the word about where we are on the process and the specific plan itself, and advertising that we did have a survey available to take. And then our key takeaways from all the outreach that we performed on the alternative: most people liked various parts of each alternative and didn't really have a very clear favorite. But most people saw the need for a better east-west connection across Highway 101, particularly for Moreland residents for their daily needs and shopping and services and medical appointments and things of that nature. So improving the connection between just from east to west of the plan area across Highway 101. And that includes a new multimodal overcrossing at Bellevue Avenue, which is consistent with Santa Rosa's General Plan 2050. I mentioned Moreland. A lot of the takeaways that we got from our outreach is that Moreland needs some investment, such as sidewalks and safer streets and lighting and better public transit options, and just overall better connection to Santa Rosa Avenue, as I mentioned, and throughout the rest of the city. And folks from Moreland are generally opposed to higher density residential in their neighborhoods. So as you'll see in the coming slides, we are not contemplating that at this time. Also, across the board, improvements to Santa Rosa Avenue to allow for safer multimodal travel along the corridor, including public transit, walking, rolling, things of that nature. And then finally, to keep equity and anti-displacement at the top of our mind throughout this process, because that is at times often a result of development and redevelopment. And in addition, more parks that are smaller as opposed to one kind of a large park, and have those parks be connected by a greenway or other types of multimodal pathways that are not that don't require using Santa Rosa Avenue to experience those green spaces. Okay, so we'll talk through the draft preferred alternative, and we kind of go at it in different approaches. So I tried to explain it in a way that was a little bit more digestible, but obviously I'll talk through anything that you have questions about. So this is the draft preferred alternative land use map. We did take the mixed use district from alternative 1 and scaled it down just a bit to accommodate existing uses and mobile home parks, and also took the city-centered development approach with the higher density residential around the Costco area. And we have smaller integrated community and neighborhood parks integrated throughout the project site instead of having the plant area, as opposed to one large park in the middle. And we're also maintaining existing industrial uses, and then none of the planned area 17 mobile home parks are proposed for redesignation of any kind. Okay, so through a transportation lens, as I mentioned, just overall bicycle and pedestrian improvements along Santa Rosa Avenue. These would be consistent with both the city and the county's active transportation plan. That was a long iterative process, community oriented, and supported by all of the great work that both the city and county's transportation teams performed. So we're basically just going to integrate all of those recommendations into the specific plan as well. And then one thing that's really exciting to me about this process is the existing Todd Creek and how it flows throughout the plan area from north to south. Santa Rosa Avenue, as much as we can maintain it, is still always going to be a very car-centric corridor. So as much as we can get people off of Santa Rosa Avenue that want to experience a safe walking and biking experience, we would like to connect the smaller dispersed parkways through a great greenway connection. And then, as I mentioned, enhanced and new crossings to improve connections east-west throughout the plan area. And also the new crossing at Bellevue, as I mentioned, and then a potential new bike and ped crossing at Robles to connect Moreland directly to Santa Rosa Avenue without increasing a lot of car conflict points with pedestrians and bicyclists. Okay, so the next next two slides kind of outline what would reasonably change. We've looked at land use designation maps, and those can be a little bit ambiguous or unclear about what actually could potentially happen. So zooming into the northern part of the plan area, you'll see that higher density residential designation around the Costco area and a little bit more to the north at the Barham and Petaluma Hill road intersections, and then also introducing new roadway connections to enhance walkability as needed with development. And then the central and southern parts of the planning area, you'll see that mixed use district that I discussed in the purple. We're also contemplating an active retail frontage overlay to really promote the mixed use nature of the district. And then the transit hub has been a little bit more flexible at the request of our transit team, because as things develop and as different service needs arise, we'd like to maintain a flexibility about where exactly that transit hub might be, but it's envisioned that it would service that southern portion of the mixed use district. And then you'll see the low and medium density housing to the east, further away from the Santa Rosa Avenue corridor, to hopefully reduce VMT and the need for people to clog up the new and existing roadways to the east and center of the plan area. And then you'll see all the west and southwest portions of the plan area are unchanged, respecting the existing industrial uses and the jobs and economic vitality that those provide, both the city and the county. And then you'll see that greenway connection from the top right of the screen, from that park all the way down, that eventually connects to the SMART Trail going towards Runner Park. Okay, so this slide is funny to me because build out, nobody really knows when that might happen, but I would like to just say at this point that it's very likely that it would take several decades for this to actually experience full build out. So while 6,300 new residential units and almost 15,000 new residents seems like a lot to just show on a slide and say this is what's gonna happen, just try to remember that this is upon total complete build out, which as I mentioned will take many, many decades. And then it would also include almost 3 million square feet of new non-residential construction. And a lot of those numbers are coming from the high density residential brought about by the mixed use designation, in addition to the non-residential construction that would take place as a result of the mixed use development as well. Okay, so the whole plan area is really lacking in open and green spaces. So that is why I'm very excited about the creek and how we can integrate the creek pathway and connect the parks that are planned in this plan. So the plan as it stands would include park space that would meet the parkland standard of future residents. But I'd like to caveat by saying that the parks that would be developed would likely develop alongside construction, and that would likely occur prior to the full build out of all the mixed use districts. So reasonably in the shorter term than full build out, existing residents would be able to experience the benefits of new parkland in this area that is so badly needed. Okay, so next steps. So as I mentioned, we've been conducting ongoing outreach on the preferred alternative, and we'll probably finalize that in the next month or so. And then late summer and early fall, we'll start conducting traffic and infrastructure analyses of that preferred alternative. And then we'll release the full draft specific plan and environmental impact report towards the end of this year or early next year. And that will include the goals and policies. The specific plan will include the goals and policies that we're all excited to get to work on. And then final adoption of the plan would occur in spring of 2027. And I think that is it. Oh, I should mention that we're also, as part of this whole process, it's an ongoing coordination with Sonoma County. I mentioned that we're presenting this draft preferred alternative to the Board of Supervisors on August 25th. It's really important for us to continue that partnership because the goal is for the county to adopt the specific plan as well. And that just made me think of something else that I was supposed to mention that I forgot to mention. The southern portion of the plan area we are showing as retail and business services. And yesterday I had a call with a supervising planner at Permit Sonoma, and she was asking about industrial and how we can maintain the viability of future industrial uses where there are currently industrial uses and industrial designations by the county. So The retail and business services predominantly to the south, south of the mixed-use district. We're exploring the idea of like a commercial industrial designation that will still achieve our goals of providing goods and services for neighbors of the mixed-use district and of the neighborhood to the east, but also accommodating existing and future kind of lighter industrial uses as well. So, sorry that I had to skip back so many slides, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. Okay, so that is my presentation. I have some QR codes for folks that are online or in person that want to check out the website or sign up for the email distribution list. As I mentioned, we do have a survey that walks you through each component of the preferred alternative and asks for feedback. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or facilitate a discussion.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and have the commission ask questions now of Mr. McKay, and then we'll go ahead and open the public comment period and then bring it back for more, some final comments. So questions, Commissioner Horton.
Thank you, and just fantastic work as usual. Sorry if I missed this somewhere obvious. The total number of new housing units that would be sort of authorized under the preferred alternative, how does that compare to alternatives 1, 2, and 3 originally? And no worries if you need to get back to me. I should have thought of this prior to just now.
That's a great question. We do have that information. It might take us a little bit to get to, though.
Yeah, no problem, thanks. And I think, you know, generally just if I can comment, what I'm excited about is a lot of elements of this, including preserving the mobile home parks, but then also looking at these opportunities to really get as much urgently needed housing as we can, right? So I'm hoping the number is gonna be larger. So thank you.
Do you have other questions? Okay. Commissioner Sanders?
Thank you for the presentation. You said there were 17 mobile home parks in this area, right? That's a pretty large concentration.
Yeah, and it's the second highest housing type in the plan area behind single family homes.
Right. So I guess my question then is, does the preferred alternative specifically protect the existing mobile home parks as a source of naturally occurring affordable housing? Like what specifically does it do to keep those as affordable housing options?
Yeah, so I'll start and maybe Amy or Jessica can pick up where I leave off. So what the specific plan does as a whole is it looks at areas of this city and county and decides should these be redesignated for something else. At this point, there's no redesignation of the mobile home park areas, so those we wouldn't be allowed to redevelop with skyrise apartments or anything of that nature. And then in terms of like protections, I think what we're contemplating over the next few months is the goals and policies that would apply to this area and how we can take the feedback that we've heard from folks about their experiences living in mobile homes and see what kind of levers that we have at our disposal that can, alongside the city and the county's rent stabilization programs and mobile home park closure programs, seeing what we can do to protect folks and protect the valuable, naturally affordable housing.
I had a hard time saying that one myself. So just to put a fine point on this, you said that they're not going to be allowed to be redeveloped and put high rises on 17 sites in this area. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Again, thanks, Connor, for the presentation. And just to piggyback on the two previous questions, the build-out charts show the existing mobile home, the existing single-family housing as part of the total build-out additive. Is that any of that contemplated as replacement, or does that mean that all of that existing housing that adds up to the total as part of the totals will continue to exist?
Yeah, so I think Yes and no. I think there's some lower density residential that's existing that it might be receiving a higher density residential designation, and on build out, though it would be redeveloped and would result in higher unit count. But as you'll see, there's 800, there's no net new or change to the mobile home park numbers.
And a question on the last point you brought up about possibly incorporating industrial uses into the southern retail and business area. Do we have a land use designation in mind that accommodates those things, or are we going to be inventing a new one for this area?
Yeah, as a planner, I generally don't like inventing new land uses because it just adds layers and layers and layers. But at this time, we don't have anything specifically in mind. I think we do have some areas in the downtown, like the Maker Mixed Use District is a good example of like a quasi-industrial retail type of designation. But at this time, we don't have anything specific in mind.
But we would likely look for something existing to apply there.
Correct.
Thank you.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, I have, well, as far to Commissioner Horton's question, I believe the table said 5,500 units for alternative 1, 5,700 residential units for alternative 2, and 6,000 for alternative 3. And so this one is 6,300. I thought you probably found it just now.
Yes.
I did have one question. The greenway that crosses 101, is that existing? Does it actually cross 101? And will it be possible to bicycle along the creek path and not have to go around an overpass or?
That is a good question. I'm not actually sure.
Because you made mention of it
The
connecting
creek
to
flows that way, so I think the idea is to enhance existing or to create new pathway. The interface between 101 and the creek, on that specific location, I'm not sure of.
But is the plan envisioning that would be improved enough so people could cycle continuously?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's all.
Commissioner Cisco?
Yeah, mine's just a clarification based on Commissioner Sanders' comments, that what we're seeing is in the preferred alternative is really the land use map, and that's protecting our mobile home parks, et cetera. And where we're going to see the language about equity, displacement, and other protections and policies will be when we actually get the written plan.
Exactly.
And we will see that in the plan.
Yes, and that plan will be informed by extensive outreach as well, because we want to hear, one of the survey questions right now asks, it gives an example of like, what is a goal, what is a policy, and then asks like, if you have any goals or policies in mind, what would you think of? And we want that plan, when we all have it in our hands, to be very community oriented, and we want the community to write those goals and policies, essentially.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So kind of with Commissioner Cisco was saying, I guess my concern is not necessarily that a mobile home park would be sold and then built a high-rise, but I'm more concerned about another sort of private equity company coming in, purchasing the mobile home park, and then jacking up the lot rents, which make it impossible for people to continue to live there and age in place. So those are the more specific policy items that I'd be looking for.
Right, and yeah, and we have heard that is actually already happening. So this is very top of mind for us.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions, and I think the majority of mobile home parks we're talking about right now are in the county, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. What kind of comments did the Sonoma County Planning Commission have about the preferred alternative or the plans?
Yeah, they were really emphasizing the equity lens throughout this process and anti-displacement. We did have a lot of public commenters who spoke to that effect as well.
Okay. And if you don't have this, it's not an issue, not a big deal. How many survey responses did you get back about?
Around 150.
Good. And businesses in the area were surveyed too?
Yeah, so we've been kind of ongoing phone calls and email exchanges with property owners and business owners. We did send out a mailer to everyone in the plan area. So everyone who is a property owner or an occupant got a letter in the mail, just kind of explaining what the specific plan process was happening, that it was happening. And I have received phone calls and emails from folks who maybe are having a tough time selling to a new business owner or a new, like maybe their designation with the county or the city is not exactly what the market is asking for right now. So I'm having ongoing conversations about what works for you and what works for the community.
Okay. And then by your slide, it looks like that we'll be seeing the final specific plan and EIR sometime in spring of '27.
Yeah, the adoption of the final specific plan is planned for spring of '27. The public draft, I think, towards the end of the year or early next year.
Okay, thank you. So any other questions before I open the public comment? Commissioner Cisco?
Yeah, just one more. This will be finalized in spring of 2027, but the county has a general plan, we have a general plan. If somebody wanted to come forward and propose some type of development, they could do so based on the existing general plans.
That is correct.
And yeah, so this one isn't going to count until it's ready. So other things could be, and my point is other things could happen before this is finalized.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, I will go ahead and open the public comment period on this item. If you are in the audience and wish to make a comment, please make your way to either one of the podium. You will have 3 minutes for your comments. Please state your name for the record, and we'll go ahead and use both podiums today. For those of you who are new here, there is a button on the side of the podium that can help you move it up or down, and Kasia is available too to help with that. So we'll start with Mr. Allenbach.
Chair, actually, sorry, just one moment.
Sorry.
If I could make an announcement, if there are any individuals in the room who would like to make a public comment and are Spanish speaking, could you please raise your hand? This will allow me to bring an interpreter over into the English speaking channel so they can interpret for you. So I will go ahead and acknowledge you, when you make your way to the podium, we'll have you speak in just a few sentence increments to allow the translator to also translate with you throughout your commenting period. All right, so we'll go ahead and give me 1 moment to bring up the timer, and then we'll start with the west podium. 1 moment.
Okay, Mr. Allenbach, if you wanted to start.
Okay. Good afternoon, members of the Planning Commission and city staff. I hope you had a chance to read my comment that I sent in, and grateful for Commissioner Sanders' comments. I see the South Santa Rosa Specific Plan as a modern urban renewal project, and urban renewal was known in the United States as a huge planning boondoggle that was nicknamed urban removal. And so with the plan area having known a very high percentage of disadvantaged community and people of color, there's extreme high likelihood of displacement and gentrification with this plan. And so when I looked at the preferred alternative, I didn't see any anti-displacement measures in there. It's all about land use and stuff. And so it seems like the ball is kind of hidden with that, with it being known that there could be displacement problems. So I think it's incumbent upon the Planning Commission to suggest specific measures and strong measures with teeth that will actually prevent displacement. And so there's a number of possible plans or policies that you could use. One is a mobile home park closure and conversion ordinance that would be updated and strengthened. I think that legal aid will comment on that a little bit. Possibly a living wage ordinance so that people will make more money so they can afford higher rents. Require that 40% of the housing in the plan area meet RENA obligation of very low and low income housing. RENA requires that 40% of the housing in the sixth cycle be for very low and low income housing. So make a requirement in the plan area that 40% of housing has to be that. Make a renter registry to track displacement. And in the eastern part of the plan area, the Todd Creek pipeline annexation area, that area is uniformly low density zoned, and that's also called exclusionary zoning. And so that is likely to be a source of gentrification that will spread out into the plan area. So I would suggest rezoning that to have a better mix of housing in there than just low density housing. So I hope that in summing up, that the Planning Commission would strongly suggest specific measures that staff would come up with so that the displacement will be specifically addressed with actionable language and not conditional language. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to check with our clerk. Is it easier if we have all the Spanish speakers go back to back, do you think, or?
Could I have the interpreter who's currently not interpreting on the Spanish channel raise their hand, and I'll get their input on if it's easier? Losha, I'm going to be bringing you back into the English channel. Losha, are you okay to stay on the English-speaking channel throughout the public commenting period? Losha, could you please unmute your microphone? Bear with us for one moment. Losha, can you please unmute your microphone? Losha, I'm going to place you back into the Spanish channel and bring the other interpreter over. One moment.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
This is the Spanish interpreter. Francisco, I'm ready.
Francisco, I have promoted you over to the English channel as we were unable to hear Losha on the English-speaking channel. Are you able to provide translation services for our public commenting period?
Yes, I am. However, we do need the other interpreter to assume interpreting on the Spanish channel.
Okay, will you give me an indication when she is?
Yes, let me make sure that I get her on. I think she was waiting for me to transfer. Please. Okay, I'm ready. She's going to take over on the Spanish channel.
Thank you, Francisco. And out of curiosity, do you prefer to have all Spanish speakers speaking in a section, or are you okay to stay on this channel throughout the commenting period?
I think that I'll stay on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Francisco.
Sure. Okay, no problem.
For the member of the public at the east podium, We can go ahead and allow you for your public commenting period. If you can speak in just 1 to 2 sentences.
Sí, para el miembro, ¿verdad?, del podium del este, si pues puede acercarse al podio. Sí, también tome en cuenta de que si puede hablar solamente en 1 o 2 frases para no perder nada de su contenido. Gracias.
We will also double the amount of time you have to speak due to the translation services.
Vamos a también darle el doble de la cantidad de tiempo debido a los servicios para la traducción.
It's okay now?
Oh, you don't need translation. Yes, you can go ahead and speak. Thank you.
Oh.
I start out with good evening. My name is Mary McCormick, and I live in Western Mobile Home Park, now Western Valley, for going on 45 years. We were recently sold to a company out of Arizona, and they have changed the rules, the living conditions, what's going on, to an unimaginable about what we're putting up with. And in my note, I had wrote all that, but now I see what it's basically based on is that the fact that you're going to change the southern part of Santa Rosa Avenue, and you'll probably go along with them getting rid of all the mobile homes. Hopefully you won't do that, because we live in a village, in a apartment situation where it's practical for us to pay the rent. And I've heard that other businesses in the county are being charged way lot more. And thank God we have a 5% count on it. I'm really sorry that I didn't pay attention too much to what we were going to be discussed here, but I'd still like to tell you what's going on where I live. And it happened to me just recently. I had a beautiful tree out in front of my house, and they took it down. Unannounced to them, there were baby birds in the tree. And they fell into my flower garden. I got a hold of the bird protection people, and they came and got them. And hopefully they'll survive. There was no notice. There was no yes or no. They came, they chopped the tree down and left a mess. And my son took it upon himself, cleaned up their mess. There was nobody there from the people who cut the tree down to help. And he cleaned it all up, and it looks very good now. So I asked him why, and he did that because I said not to. And he told me he was afraid that somebody would fall. They didn't even give us a notice about the tree coming down. They didn't tell us that they would clean it up. They just took it upon themselves to do it, no matter what we asked them to do. We're living in a place now that's just unfit for friendship. They have pulled a lot of things on us. They went around and they changed all the water pipes, the nozzles and stuff, and I went to check to see if mine were okay. And I turned the nozzle on and the water's spraying everywhere. And we charge us for the water that comes from a well. And then I also looked, there was a pipe going up to the
Thank you.
fixtures.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and stay with that podium for the Spanish speakers. If you want to make a comment in Spanish, please go to the east podium, if you're able to. If not, we'll take you on the west podium.
Sí, por favor, ¿verdad? Los que van a dar un comentario en español, si van al podio que está al este, si pueden. Si no, vamos a estar bien con su comentario en el podio del oeste. Una frase a la vez, por favor.
¿Ya? ¿Ya? Sí, buenas tardes para todos. Mi nombre es Ángel Portillo. Vivo en el parqueadero
Everyone. My name is Ángel Portillo.
Entré pagando $780 y hoy en día yo soy el que pago más caro. Estoy pagando $1,558. No sé por qué. Me están corriendo de mi hogar. Ese es mi hogar. y vine a buscar apoyo, a buscar ayuda.
Diga lo que, la frase anterior, por favor, que se
Perdón.
pasó ahorita. Repita lo que dijo anteriormente sobre cuánto le están cobrando.
Me están cobrando $1,558.
They are charging me $1,558.
Yo soy el que más estoy pagando ahorita.
I am the one that's paying the most at this time.
Les envié un cheque hace una semana de $1,000 que me dijo el abogado
I sent him a week ago a check of over
y me lo
$1,000
y me lo
to my
regresaron.
attorney, but it was returned to me.
Y tengo una comunidad preciosa ahí en el parqueadero, se vive tranquilo ahí, pero no sé
And I
por
have a
qué.
beautiful community there. You live very peacefully there.
No sé por qué me están cobrando tan caro a mí, nomás que es a mí. Y mi casa es
I don't know
chiquitica.
why it is that they're charging me so much. Just me.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gracias a usted.
And there is a button on the side of the podium to lower it if you need to.
Sí, hay un botón ahí al lado, ¿verdad? Del podio, si gustan bajarle al podio, si necesitan.
Mi nombre es Alma León.
My name is Alma León.
Pertenezco al parqueadero Western Mobile Home.
I belong to the Western Mobile Home Park.
Tengo viviendo 25 años en este lugar,
I have been living there for 25 years.
que lo siento como mi casa y queremos tener seguridad.
I feel that this is my home, and we want to have safety and security there.
Que podamos vivir tranquilos
We are able to live peacefully
y sentirnos a gusto en nuestro hogar como hasta el momento.
and where we could feel at ease and as our home, like now.
Vivo en uno de los 17 parques de casas móviles
I live in one of the 17 mobile home parks
del área del plan.
of the plan area.
Vivir en nuestro parque nos ha brindado a mí y a mi familia
This is our life living here at the park. It's been great for my family and myself.
estabilidad y la posibilidad de quedarnos
It's given us stability and the possibility of staying
en el condado de Sonoma.
in Sonoma County.
Incluye al menos uno de los siguientes,
It includes at least one of the following:
que es el costo de vida es demasiado alto para muchas familias,
that the high cost of living is too high for most of the families,
incluso en las llamadas opciones de viviendas económicas.
including the so-called low income section housing.
Es difícil pagar además de las comidas, el transporte y otros gastos.
It's hard to pay in addition to transportation, food, and other expenses.
Desde que Harmony se hizo cargo del manejo de nuestro parque,
Since Harmony took charge of the managing of our park,
la amenaza de inestabilidad se ha vuelto una realidad cotidiana.
the threat of instability has become a threat, daily life threat.
En lo personal, desde que llegó Harmony,
Personally, since Harmony came along,
hemos sido muy afectados
we've been very affected by this.
a mí y al igual que todos mis vecinos.
Myself, as well as all of my neighbors.
Todo lo que les llega a afectar a ellos me llega a afectar a mí.
Everything that affects them affects me.
El aumento de rentas,
The increase of rents,
a que se les envíen avisos de desalojo de 3 a 7 días,
and to receive eviction notices 3 to 7 days,
que se les lleguen a cortar sus árboles.
and for them to cut their trees.
Nos sentimos muy intimidados
We feel very intimidated by this,
y ya no tenemos paz ni vivimos a gusto.
and we have no peace, and we're not living at ease. peace.
Necesitamos medidas significativas
We need significant measures
de protección para todos los parques de casas móviles
of protections for all the mobile parks,
y los inquilinos
whether it be tenants,
antes de aprobar cualquier plan de desarrollo
before approving any development plan
para el sur de Santa Rosa.
for the south of Santa Rosa.
No vendan nuestras comunidades a inversionistas
Do not sell our communities to investors
o desarrolladores millonarios.
or millionaire developers.
El área del plan corre un gran riesgo
The planned area is at high risk
de que las personas que viven aquí no puedan seguir pagando
of the people who are living here could no longer keep paying
los precios mientras que las grandes empresas
the prices while multimillionaire businesses
se lucran.
are making a lot of money.
Mejorar nuestro vecindario debe de ser para nosotros.
To improve our community should be for us,
Y
the best for us.
nosotros,
And for us,
los inversionistas hechos solo para construir viviendas,
the investments is made to only build housing
a precio del mercado,
at market rate,
atraer nuevas empresas vendrán,
and to bring new businesses, they will come
a costa de nuestros bolsillos.
at our expenses.
Es urgente que la ciudad y el condado
It's urgent that the city and the county
tomen medidas para proteger nuestra comunidad.
take the proper measurements to protect our community.
Perseverar la vivienda actual.
Thank you.
Reserve
Thank you.
housing. Thank you. Gracias.
One moment, please. Is there a way to turn the translation volume up?
Francisco,
momento.
could you
Ay,
speak
Manero.
louder into the microphone as you're translating, please?
Okay, let's see. How is that?
That's much better, thank you.
Okay, I moved it about a quarter of an inch closer to my mouth. I'm sorry for that. Disculpen.
Oops, so next person, and like I said, there's a button on the side of the podium to lower it.
Tenemos
you'd
un botón
like.
en el lado del podio, si gustan, ¿verdad? Bajarlo para que se acomode
Because you
más.
have to get really close to the microphone.
Es que tienen que acercarse mucho al micrófono y hablen solamente en una o dos frases a la vez, por favor.
Buenas tardes para todos. Mi
Good afternoon,
nombre,
everyone.
mi nombre es Juana
My name is Juana.
y soy miembro de West Plaza Vecinos Unidos.
I am a member of West Plaza Vecinos Unidos, or United Neighbors.
He vivido en Western Mobile Home por 23 años
I have lived at Western Mobile Home for 23 years,
y este ha sido mi hogar.
and this has been my home.
Los vecinos nos sentimos estresados por la decisión de cerrar el parque.
We neighbors are really stressed because of the decision to close down the park.
Vivo en uno de los 17 parques de casas móviles del área del plan.
I live in one of the 17 mobile home parks in the planned area.
Vivir en nuestro parque nos ha brindado a mí y a mi familia estabilidad,
Living at the park has given me and my family the stability
y la posibilidad de quedarnos en el condado de Sonoma.
and the possibility of staying in Sonoma County.
Las personas mayores,
Older people,
las familias trabajadoras de bajos ingresos
working people of low wages,
y las familias inmigrantes
and immigrant families
son algunos de los más afectados por la inestabilidad de vivienda.
are some of the most affected because of the instability of housing,
Y son nuestros vecinos en los parques.
and they are our neighbors in the parks.
Desde que Harmony se hizo cargo del manejo de nuestro parque,
Since Harmony took charge of managing our park,
la amenaza de inestabilidad se ha vuelto una realidad cotidiana.
the threat of instability has turned into a daily occurrence.
Ya han cortado nuestros árboles de los parques
And they cut down our trees in the parks.
y no tenemos un manager para presentar los problemas.
And we don't have a manager to present these problems.
Se han roto tuberías de agua
Housing pipes have broken,
y Harmony no ha venido para arreglarlas.
and Harmony has not fixed them.
Necesitamos medidas significativas
We need significant measures
de protección para los parques de casas móviles
of protection for mobile park homes.
y los inquilinos
And the tenants,
antes de aprobar cualquier plan de desarrollo para el sur de Santa Rosa.
before approving any development plan for South Santa Rosa,
No venda nuestra comunidad a inversionistas
don't sell our community to investors
o desarrolladores millonarios.
or millionaire developers.
Si cierran nuestros parques, ¿a dónde vamos a ir?
Because if you close down our parks, where are we going to go?
No hay espacios disponibles en otros parques, no hay viviendas económicas a las que podamos mudarnos.
There are no spaces that are cheap to live in, where we could move in.
Es urgente que la ciudad de Santa Rosa y el condado de Sonoma
It's urgent that the city of Santa Rosa, the county of Sonoma,
también tomen medidas para proteger nuestras comunidades,
also takes the measures to protect our community,
preservar la vivienda actual
preserve the current housing,
y prevenir la falta de viviendas.
and to prevent loss of housing.
Con todo respeto les pedimos,
With all respect, we request
tomen medidas de protección
to take the protection measures
contra el
needed
desplazamiento antes de aprobar este plan.
against displacement before approving this plan.
Muchas gracias por su atención.
Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Gracias a usted.
There's someone else there?
I'll do mine in English, so I don't mind passing to the podium at my right.
Okay.
If I could actually get one more tally to see if there's any more individuals who are wanting to make a public comment in Spanish. If not, I will move Francisco back to the interpretation channel.
¿Hay alguien más en español que desee dar un comentario en español? Si no, entonces voy a pedir que Francisco pase al canal en inglés, en español, perdón.
See no one.
Okay, give me one moment so I can
Momento.
go ahead and move Francisco, and we will continue with public comment. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
We're ready for the next public comment?
Yes, yes. Oops, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair Weeks and Commissioners. My name is Patrick McDonnell. I'm the Housing Team Supervisor at Legal Aid of Sonoma County. Legal Aid is the largest organization providing free legal services to low-income and vulnerable residents in our county, including in the city of Santa Rosa. We're located just right down the street from here. And I'm here today to urge the city to make housing stability and anti-displacement measures a core component of the South Santa Rosa specific plan. Legal Aid strongly supports investment in South Santa Rosa. Residents in South Santa Rosa deserve the same infrastructure and services that are present for residents in other wealthier parts of the city, but that investment should not come at the cost of displacement of the families that you see in front of you. This city's own analysis finds the specific plan carries a high risk of displacing lower income households. South Santa Rosa, as we know, is home to a vibrant Latino and immigrant community, lower income working families and seniors. We have many of those families in the room represented here. These are populations that are disproportionately impacted by the housing affordability crisis that we find ourselves in. We know that 60% of South Santa Rosa residents are already housing cost burdened, and the median household income in the plan area is just $60,000 a year, which is 35% below the citywide median. We know the city is facing a tight budget, but the families you see before you also have tight budgets. They do not have the money that would be needed to move, to relocate, to find alternative housing if the South Santa Rosa specific plan carried consequences that required them to relocate. They cannot just absorb rising housing costs. Preserving the housing that these folks live in is far more cost effective than replacing it. We know that a new affordable housing unit costs more than $500,000, and we won't simply be able to build our way out of the crisis that we're in while simultaneously losing the affordable homes that we already have in this area. And so if the city and the county move forward with a specific plan, we urge strong anti-displacement protections that must move forward with it and be clearly addressed in the plan. So we urge you to protect mobile home parks, not just by not changing the zoning designation, but by actually using mobile home park specific zoning designations, stronger rent stabilization in the existing ordinance, and safeguards against park closure and redevelopment, adopting a just cause eviction protection ordinance that is as strong or stronger than what the county already has, rent stabilization, and a rental registry to track the rental housing conditions and inform our policy decisions. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead to the east podium.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lena Blanco. I'm a tenant organizer with the North Bay Organizing Project. Thank you to city planners and to the city planning staff for all your work into this plan. I'm accompanied here by over 35, 40 tenant leaders, many of whom have showed up to a public meeting for the first time tonight. That's civic engagement in action, really talking about their own experiences and what they need before the development of this plan. You know, we support the investment in this area. We need better public transit, we need better roads, we need better lights. We also want to make sure that the folks who live there have a chance to stay. We do not want development if it comes at the cost of displacing residents who currently live there. And that really means setting baseline targets for very low income and extremely low income folks who live there, preserving the mobile home parks that exist as one of the last truly affordable housing options we have nowadays, right? As well as bringing up just cause to the county standard for all tenants. This is a moment that the city of Santa Rosa has to let their folks know who live here that they belong here, right? You know, we've been door knocking, neighbors have been door knocking to arrive to this moment because they're not just facing the pressure of new development in their neighborhoods and what that might have as a result, but also the pressures, as many folks spoke to today, about Harmony Communities, other private investment corporations buying up parks, raising the rents. The vecino, the neighbor Javier, tonight, he had his rent increase double. We know that that's not just happening in Santa Rosa, and I just want to make it very clear tonight that we see companies like Harmony Communities buying up parks in Santa Rosa in particular. 5 of the parks that Harmony owns in Sonoma County are in Santa Rosa and in the unincorporated part of Santa Rosa. Neighbors are standing up in Petaluma, neighbors are standing up in Windsor, and neighbors are standing up right here in Santa Rosa. So we urge you to please ensure that we are passing stronger renter protections and mobile home park preservation to prevent the homelessness that we could see. And so we just want to make it very clear to keep resident voices at the center of this in your decision making. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the west podium.
Thank you, Commissioners. Ken Ranello, Western. Sorry to the translator, it's going to be fast. Harmony Communities bought our park in December of last year. Here's a fast list of what they've accomplished since then. Brought in a new manager across the street at Plaza and hired her son Tim as the maintenance worker. We never saw Nepo hire Tim, and he's now gone along with his mom, so there's literally 0 maintenance staff. Fired our long-running park worker, Franco. He lived on site, knew everyone, and you would see him multiple times per week picking up trash, doing landscape maintenance, and so on. Now there's nobody doing that. Previous management policy was to handle grounds upkeep for the first 10 feet of each space. This kept the roads and curbs clean and slowed infrastructure decay. Harmony stopped any kinds of grounds upkeep, instead telling residents that it was now essentially their responsibility to maintain the spaces up to and including the curb. They'd love the residents to take care of the property they own while paying Harmony for the privilege. We have a pool, but it's been closed this year. The gate latch had a problem and maintenance Tim couldn't fix it. So rather than hire a contractor to come make it work, they just left it locked up. It was apparently fixed last week, but it hasn't been inspected. It was supposed to open Memorial Day. By the time they actually open it, it will be closed for the season, saving them money. Meanwhile, the people who pay for it can't use it. They've ceased cleaning the public restrooms, laundry facilities. Residents complain the facility is unkempt, bordering on unusable, and surprise, they've taken to cleaning it themselves. They've sent out notices to dozens of tenants claiming that their spaces are unacceptable. They can't have AC or unapproved storage sheds, awnings, et cetera. Spoiler alert, mostly it's the people who've been here the longest and pay the lowest rent. They've told people they can't have too many plants, for heaven's sakes. 12 seems to be the magic number, BTW. They sent in a tree service from their hometown of Stockton to cut down every single mature, healthy tree on the property that they could. We now live with no natural shade and no green unless it's one of the 12 plants we can have. They sent in plumbers again from Stockton to put water meters in each space. This will be fine, except it appears to be unpermitted work and it isn't up to code or common sense. Each space should have a shutoff valve right at the ground, so if there's a problem with a unit, you don't lose the whole park. There was a break, water everywhere. The fire department had to come and shut off the pumps to the park because management couldn't be reached. And the entire park was without water for about 4 hours. Finally, a resident drove to Home Depot, bought the necessary plumbing parts to fix the problem and fixed it just so they could have water back at their own house. As Harmony is apparently unwilling to hire local contractors unless the need is inescapable, the burden is shifted onto the residents, which is, I suspect, exactly the plan. They attempt to use almost exclusively contractors from Stockton who work at all their properties. This means their response time, if you can reach them, is a minimum of 4 to 6 hours. When it's a lack of water in the evenings, that's not acceptable. When work is not up to code, it's not acceptable. This is a company that has ceased every single expense they possibly can, shifted their own responsibilities onto the residents, denied those folks the services they pay for, kicked out anyone paying less than market rent, and taken every dollar of those savings out of Sonoma County. There's a term for them. Thank you, commissioners, private equity landlords. These people manage over $700 million worth of property per their LinkedIn. We're your tenants, we're your neighbors. Help us, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Brew. I'm 65, and my husband and I reside at Plaza Park. We are all, most of us are working people. I am a nurse. I rushed here from work so that we could find out what's going on. When I found out the park was being sold, I called Harmony Homes and asked them, what is your intentions? Because I'm hearing all these scary things. They said that they only wanted to beautify our park. Within a month, they cut down 86 trees. A lot of those trees provided shade for us. Birds lived in those trees, nested in those trees. So then we have been told that they are going to sell the park. Plaza is now running at about half capacity, and they have torn down our fences and promising new fence, never happened. They are slapping 7-day notices on people to clean up their spaces, yet there are weeds as high as my knee all over the park. Dog poop all over the park. No maintenance happening at Plaza Park. Sorry. Therefore, I really feel that a lot of us, yet we are working, we are the working poor. This means that our home is our home until we decide to leave, not to be forced out, have our rents driven up, or be scared and be forced to leave. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Okay, one more.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, and staff. My name is Nicole Gordillo. I'm a field representative with the North Coast State Carpenters Union at Local 751. I'm here to talk about the South Santa Rosa Plan. We all agree this is a great addition to the community, but we also want to pay attention on how it's built. These developments provide opportunities for men and women in the community and would have the ability to work in their own backyards. But it's very important that the developer uses a responsible contractor that provides livable wages, healthcare, and apprenticeship programs to help build the future. These are not just protections for workers, they're investments in quality, safety, and durability of the structures they are building. Let's make sure the project reflects our community's values. When strong labor standards are abused, they not only hurt workers, but create unsafe job sites and even engage in wage theft, violations, and tax fraud. Please ensure this project will be built by a responsible contractor and includes labor standards. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close this public comment period and bring it back to the commission. I have a couple of questions that I just want to throw out that I heard from some of the commenters. I am assuming that in the final plan, there will be an anti-displacement component. Is that correct?
Yes, so as part of the existing conditions report for the specific plan, we did prepare an anti-displacement and anti-homelessness strategy that explores a variety of options to achieve both of those things. And then that will inform the generation and development of goals and policies that would be anti-displacement and anti-homelessness targets.
Thank you. And the mobile homes, as I mentioned before, the majority of them, if not all of them that we're talking about, fall under the jurisdiction of Sonoma County and their mobile home regulations. Is that correct?
I believe there are 4 mobile home parks in the city in the plan area out of the 17.
Okay, and then the other 13 would fall under the county and their mobile home ordinance?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So questions? Commissioner Cisco? Or comments, I guess, too, either.
Well, it's a question. So if there are existing mobile home ordinances like in the county, will those automatically be adopted in the plan? I guess my question is, my experience with plans is that there's usually a goal. The city develop a mobile home ordinance or, something. Then it has to go to the city council for prioritization, whether they're gonna do it, staff is involved. It's not just, it's there and it happens. There's a whole nother process that happens even if you cite it as a goal in the plan. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I just want everybody's expectations to be realistic here of what we can and cannot do in this plan. And then the other question is, where can these people go with their immediate concerns? The ones that have spoken about in this particular part, just to give them some direction as to what they could actually do or get help from the city, if anything. It's different than this plan. In other words, there's a lot that's being said that doesn't have anything to do with what we would be doing here tonight, so just.
Yeah, so thank you for that question. The mobile home parks that are within the county, for regulations and requirements and goals and policies currently on the books in the county, their best avenue is to go to the county. We, as Connor mentioned earlier, we are working very closely with county representatives on this plan, and so we are more than happy to help facilitate conversations with county representatives as well as the city, so we can talk about kind of the differences between the two. But that would be the avenue for that. I also did want to add, so the mention about goals and policies and future work that might come from those goals and policies, and that is correct. One of the additional aspects of the specific plan will be an implementation plan that will outline for those policies that identify future work, an implementation of when we would expect that to happen, who would be taking care of that, and a plan moving forward so that we have at least some idea of when that might take place.
But it doesn't automatically happen at the adoption of the plan.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, other questions? Oh, Vice Chair.
Yeah, I think I have one. So of all the specific plans we've done since I've been on the commission, this is the first one I can think of that has this component of a lot of the lands or county lands currently. So once we're in the process of like our final steps to adoption, does staff look at the existing county ordinances and compare them to the city ordinances and try to merge them, try to figure out how to make the transition more smooth, or figure out what we have to act on first to get to our goal? Or how does this happen?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it is a goal of this process for the Board of Supervisors to adopt the plan as their own, which would mean that we would have the same land use and circulation priorities and changes in addition to the goals and policies that we've been discussing. As far as other plans that the county has and the city has, I think I mentioned the active transportation plan. There is kind of a massaging and mixing of all those things that are informing this plan, but it is an ongoing discussion and coordination with the county to see what all we need to be considering and the implications of what we might have in the city and what the county has as well. And until the specific plan area is annexed, whatever existing county plans would still apply related to active transportation and other things besides, land use and circulation.
And there's no plan for annexation at this time, is that correct?
The specific plan process does not directly result in annexation. That is a separate process. We do have a developer who's interested in proposing a project, and depending on LAFCO policy, they may require that developer to annex more than just their project boundary into the city, and that is also an ongoing discussion.
Okay. Okay, other questions? Commissioner Horton.
Thank you, and thanks for all the public comments. I actually just wanted to hone in. I think, I share the thoughts and concerns with other commissioners about displacement and looking forward to seeing what we come up with. But I actually just wanted to highlight one comment that I really liked that I hope you'll think about, which was, let's take a look at that eastern part of the plan area that in the proposal is zoned for sort of medium to low density housing. And could we actually fight displacement and get more housing in the process and kind of, I think, retain some of the more middle class, working class character by looking at slightly higher densities there. So appreciate you taking a look at that.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yeah, I also want to thank everyone for the comments. Just for clarity, so that we all, at least for me, know exactly what we're talking about. Today, we are here to do what? Can we just put that out so that we understand what the commission is being asked to do today?
Yeah, thank you for that. We're asking you to provide feedback on the draft preferred alternative of the specific plan, which will serve as the foundation for land use and circulation network changes as a result of the adoption of the specific plan, and provide feedback on any goals and policies that you'd like to see in the future.
And that is separate from the implementation plan, which would, once this is approved, we would move to that stage, and that's when different policies and goals such as displacement prevention, stability, housing stability, those things would then be discussed at a later time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do we know what the time frame is for that?
Yeah, so we expect to release the public draft of the specific plan later on this year, and that will be a result of outreach and conversations about goals and policies and priorities and things of that nature. But if y'all are open to providing feedback about goals and policies as well, I would love to hear that.
And so I guess just for the gallery, for everyone here, today is not, because I'm hearing a lot of real concern, and I just want to be clear that today is just the beginning stage. There is still more opportunities for our citizens to craft a direction that protects their homes, protects their parks. So stay engaged, watch for your notices, show up like you did today. There are many other points in which you can do that. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And I will also say I did appreciate and heard some great ideas to that end tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's no other questions or comments, I also want to thank you all for coming out tonight, especially the first timers. I know sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking standing up there in the podium, but I really do appreciate the community involvement. Did you get what you needed from us, Connor?
Yes, we certainly have a lot of feedback and things to consider. Thank you.
Okay, so great. So with that, we will close this item and move on to the next item, and we'll take about a 5-minute break so people can make their way out without rushing. Thank you all.
It's interesting that they seem to be doggedly avoiding, specifying anything or trickling out, how they're going to deal with it. It's not going to be in the preferred alternative. It's going to come later. Yeah. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll have.
Okay, so we will restart the meeting and move on to, we have no consent items and no report items, so we'll move on to the scheduled item 11.1, public hearing. College Avenue Starbucks conditional use permit for a restaurant with drive-through and walk-up service and extended hours of operation. 131 College Avenue, file number PRJ 23-013. And Ms. Hartman, take it away.
Thank you.
Sorry, ex parte, thank you. Okay, ex parte, this is an ex parte item. Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Horton.
I have visited the site and have nothing further to report.
Commissioner Sanders.
I visited the site and have nothing further to report.
Commissioner Carter.
I've also visited the site and have nothing further to report.
Vice Chair Duggan.
I visited the site and have nothing further to report.
Commissioner Cisco.
I visited the site and have nothing further to report, or ditto.
And I also visited the site and have nothing further to report. So now, Ms. Hartman.
Thank you, Chair Weeks and members of the commission. Today before you is a Starbucks drive-through with extended hours of operation located at 131 College Avenue. The site, as it is right now, there is an existing vacant commercial building. It was once upon a time an auto repair service type of commercial building, and they're proposing to demolish that building and construct a new, about a 1,200 square foot building with just a drive-through and an exterior walk-up and ordering pickup service. The applicant is proposing to operate from the hours of 4 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. And they're also incorporating some new landscaping, lighting, as well as some utility and frontage improvements. This is a brief project history. There was a neighborhood meeting in June of 2023, and there were no members of the public that attended that meeting. And then shortly after that, they submitted their application for a conditional use permit and minor design review. This is an aerial view of the site. It is directly adjacent to the Highway 101 exit ramp, as well as having a frontage along College Avenue. The zoning district is general commercial with a North Station area combined districts, and the general plan land use designation is retail and business services, which accommodates restaurants and similar commercial uses. The surrounding properties there's kind of like a mixture of some medium density residential as well as some commercial and neighborhood mixed uses. So this is the criteria for review, and this kind of goes into, there's further detail within the staff report, but there are specific drive-through standards under zoning code section 20-42.064. So this is the site plan with the landscaping. As you can see here, they're orienting the building towards the left of the property and are going to be incorporating a drive-through area as well as 9 vehicles parking spaces. And they do propose to preserve some of the existing redwood trees and then also having a more detailed landscaping plan that incorporates some new trees as well. And there will only be one entry and exit way coming off of College Avenue. This is the floor plan. I just wanted to show that there was no proposed indoor dining within this building. And the walk-up window is kind of more, I forgot to kind of circle it on this presentation, but it's towards the bottom where that swinging door entry is. These are the proposed elevations. The project has been found to be in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act under the CEQA guidelines sections 15303, 15332, and 15183. Some of the public comments that I received from post notice had the summarization of the concerns were generally about noise and the hours of operation, as well as concerns over the traffic. The project has been reviewed by city staff, including our Transportation and Public Works Division, that had no outstanding issues or concerns with the proposal, as well as the applicant has proposed to construct a concrete panel sound wall towards the property line that's adjacent to residential as their way of trying to minimize noise from the drive-through. So there are no unresolved issues as a result of staff review. Staff analysis has concluded that these findings can be met, and the applicant has reviewed and accepted all conditions of approval. So therefore, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the Planning Commission, by resolution, approve a conditional use permit for the drive-through and extended hours of operation at 131 College Avenue. And I do have the applicant and his team present. If you do have any specific questions for the applicant, we also have our Traffic, Transportation, Public Works Division here as well, if you have any questions for our city staff. Thank you.
Thank you. So the applicant doesn't have a presentation, is that correct?
Correct. They do not have a visual presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do have some questions, but I'll open it up to my fellow commissioners first for a question. Commissioner Cisco.
Yeah, this is a clarification. I read somewhere, I can't find where I read it, but my understanding is that there's going to be right turn only in and right turn only out. There is a little left-hand turn lane in the middle of College there. I'm assuming that means you cannot make a left from College into that by virtue of it being right turn in and right turn out.
Evening, Commissioners. Dan Hennessy, Transportation Public Works Director. The proposal is for right turns out only, but left turns would be allowed into the site.
They would be allowed in.
Yes,
okay, that wasn't clear. It's not going to be easy. Good to know. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. Hennessy while he's down here? Okay.
While you're sitting there, so if it's a right turn out only, and we're assuming everybody's going to follow the rule, but I don't have much faith in that, but right turn out only, say you came from the freeway, you want to go back to the freeway, where's the first opportunity to make a U-turn?
You would be down at the signal at Cleveland Avenue.
It's signed no U-turn.
Well,
I was there this morning.
Then it would be right turn on Cleveland Avenue to go down to the Steele-Guerneville interchange.
Okay.
Would be the fastest way to do that.
Thanks.
And this may be a question for you, Mr. Hennessy, or for the applicant, I'm not sure which. So you have people coming on College, making a right-hand turn in. At the same time, people are coming off of 101 onto College. I don't believe there's a light at 101 in College, one of those queuing lights. I don't think there is. So what happens with people coming in? They just...
People turning right into the site?
Right into, coming down the freeway.
Yeah.
And then turning right onto College, going westbound, and then somebody also on College wanting to turn right. Would it be the way the lights are synced that would help that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a traffic signal at the southbound ramps and College that would prohibit westbound traffic and southbound traffic from moving at the same time.
Okay, good, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Hennessy while he's here? Okay, thank you. Any other questions for staff before I open? Okay, Commissioner Sanders?
Do we know, thank you, by the way, for the presentation. Do we know the distance between the driveway and whatever residence is closest to the driveway? And I guess what my concern is, emissions, a 4 a.m. start, 11 p.m. close, summer months, they want to sleep with their windows open. How close are we talking?
I can give an approximate distance, at least from kind of a general look from the property line there to what I'm seeing as a residential building there is at least 20 feet. And that's just coming from the property line. That's not including the buffer between like the vegetation and then the drive-through lane itself.
Okay.
We can also have the applicant
I mean, if the
answer.
applicant has something to add, that'd be great, but sure. And I guess just to clarify what my concern is the apartment, I'm assuming they're apartments, right?
No.
It's a single family.
Right behind him?
Right behind it.
It's medium density residential.
Yeah, exactly. So what is the impact on that?
Good evening. Hi, my name is Frank Coda. I'm a principal in the firm of Greenberg Farrow. We're the architects and engineers for the project. I'm just going to do my little intro, if that's okay, and then answer your question. With me tonight is the owner of the property, Steve Thomas. I also have our traffic engineer, Colin Burgett, here. And we actually, on our virtual, we should have our acoustical engineer, should we need that. Regarding the air quality, we did do an air quality analysis, and so there was no impact from emissions or even or creating additional greenhouse gases from our project. To answer your question on distance, we're probably a good 30 plus feet from the drive-through lane to the structure on the other property, is just my, having been out there and seeing that. So. But again, we did do the air quality study based on cars in the drive-through. So I don't think there's a concern there. Or at least our consultant has said so in writing. So if I may continue. I think the thing when I first saw this site is the trees, right? I drove up and said, wow, those are some trees. So we have done as much as we can to protect the trees along the residential property line, the northern property line. We are removing, I think it was 4 trees total. 3 of them are along the Caltrans right away, and there is one in the northwest corner. There's still a grouping of 3, and one of them we're gonna remove. And as, actually, to be fair, I wanted to thank Suzanne. As you saw, we started in 2003, so we've become friends, if you will. So we moved, initially we had the drive-through closer to the property line, so we moved it away so we could keep those trees. And then the sound wall is actually a special wall. In other words, we can't go and just build a footing in there because we're gonna obviously affect all those trees there. So this is a precast wall. We'll have piers that go down every so often between the roots. We'll obviously have an arborist on site to make sure when those are drilled and put into place, that we do our best to minimize any damage to those trees. But yeah, we have it at 6 feet, and we did have a request from the adjacent neighbor. I think I saw it, not directly, but just through emails, that they wanted to keep the existing fence. That's fine with us. We've moved our new sound wall on our property so that can stay in place. We talked about the noise. We did do a noise study, but a couple of things to mention. The order point, which is the speaker box, as many people call it, it's called an automatic volume control system. It's in our report as well, but basically it adjusts the volume to the ambient sound. So as it gets quieter, the sound gets a lot less. and then it automatically increases when it's more noisy out. So, and again, the results of our acoustic analysis, which is, again, is a part of the staff report, that we are well below the city's noise ordinance for the given times of our operation. Again, back to residences, lighting. We have 21-foot-high poles in the parking area, but all along the perimeter, we've reduced them down to 16 feet. To again, and they'll be shielded and not shining lights on adjacent properties. But we're trying to be very respectful of our adjacent neighbors here.
I just wanted to add, sorry. So from looking at the plans, it looks like the drive-through lane itself is about 11 feet away from the property line. So then approximately like between like 20 to 30 feet away from the residential building is what I'm getting.
Thank you, and way to sneak in a presentation. It was very well done. You said you didn't want to make a presentation, but I like it. Thank you.
My last point is on the traffic. That to me, that's the point of the main point of this project to be thinking about. The number one thing is the queuing. So our traffic engineer who's here did our queuing studies. We measured or counted the other stores in Santa Rosa. Typically, that would be the results were 14 on the weekdays as a maximum, 16 on the weekends. We have 21. So we feel very comfortable that we're not going to get into a situation where the cars will back out onto College, because that's obviously a no-no. That's cannot happen. And then as far as the left turns, we've talked about that. My opinion would be if there was a way to do a right-in, right-out without being problematic to the people across the street, or even doing a pork chop on ours. I think we even talked about that with the traffic engineering department over the course of the project. But at this point, we've ended up with the right out through a sign, and then the right in and a left in. Thank you for indulging me.
Thank you.
So as long as you're there, is it typical for a Starbucks to open that early? Are those typical hours?
In general, so I just wanted to, we have 6 stores in the marketplace here in Santa Rosa. One opens at 3:30, the rest open at 4:30, with the exception of the one on 4th Street, which opens at 5.
Okay.
So we thought, because it was adjacent to the freeway and our acoustical engineer, there was no impact on noise ordinance, that the 4 o'clock was a compromise from being along the freeway. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Vice Chair.
Yeah, this is probably for your traffic engineer. So I noticed that you included in your traffic memo that you counted up the queues at the 4 Starbucks in Santa Rosa, and those all have inside seating. So I'm wondering if that would have any, if you arrive and you intend to go through the queue and the queue's long, but you can park and go inside, maybe you would just do that instead. And is that going to be a potential problem at this location if you can't do that?
Hi, Colin Burgett with TJKM Transportation Consultants. There's trip data for coffee shops with and without indoor seating, and the trip rates are very similar. So it doesn't appear to make a huge difference in terms of the number of cars that would be arriving, with or without the indoor seating.
But even if this location is located right alongside a very busy freeway, where you can easily get off the freeway and get back on the freeway?
It's not an unusual situation. There are other Starbucks locations that are close to a freeway, sometimes with indoor seating, sometimes without. I mean, I think motorists would still have the option of parking and walking to the window to order. So people could still have that option here.
One note to add on that, Vice Chair, is that almost all coffee shop trips are what we call pass-by trips, which means somebody is stopping there on their way to do something else. Very few of them are generated as a solo trip to a Starbucks and back home. So these trips are already out on the road. They're just making additional turning movements into and out of. Similar to your conjecture that this might be influenced by the freeway, we would expect to see that, but it's not adding new traffic to the streets. It's just creating new turning movements at this location.
Right, I understand it wouldn't add additional traffic, but it could add additional local traffic right there at the driveway.
Well, I think
and I'm most concerned about that.
I mean, the level of queuing analysis and data collection that was done for this site is beyond what we typically require and is beyond what we typically see for any type of drive-through or other land use. So having read the traffic study that was completed before I started with the city, I'm quite comfortable with the level of analysis that they put into this and the design of the site.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so with that, I will go ahead and open the public hearing on this item. If you have any comments on this item, please make your way to the podium. You will have 3 minutes. Either podium will work. Please state your name for the record when you get up there. And there's a button on the side of the podium if you need to lower it.
My name is Carolyn Ayers, and I own the property right behind there for 34 years. Those homes were built in 1938 that are there. We have no air conditioning, so we do sleep with our windows open, and the whole street, pretty much 85% is, we're retired now, and we're home all day. And I am very concerned about the cars and the hours now that I just saw them being up, because those lights are we're just gonna hear that constantly. And we're in that backyard. We're literally right on the other side of the fence to where your window's gonna be. That's where we're working out all the time out there with our cars and our garden, and that's what we're gonna have to listen to. And I'm just worried about the health reasons, the health part of it. I have asthma, my neighbor has lung cancer, and just having to listen to that and the noise and those hours are just crazy to have right there with all the homes that we have. And my house isn't the only one that's sharing that property. It's the duplex next door, and their property is probably even a little closer. The homes are probably not even 20 feet from the fence. They're probably like 15 right there from where the fence is gonna be. And the traffic right there is gonna be insane. I know Starbucks, and especially people saying, oh, there's a Starbucks. They have no clue that they can only go right to go turn around, and the accidents are just gonna be crazy, and the people trying to get off the freeway are just gonna be backed up with the cars right there. I'm also, sorry, I had my little note. Let's see if I get it out fast enough. The parking for your employees. For some reason, all the businesses around our cute little street, they don't seem to have parking. All the dentist office next door, all their employees park on our little street. The auto shops that are down right there on Cleveland around the corner, their employees all park on our street. We have no parking there, and now you only have a few spots there where you're doing your Starbucks, that where are your employees gonna park? They're gonna be designated there because there is no parking left on our street with everybody else that's parked there. And it's just the noise and the cars, and I'm just more concerned about the health. And yes, I do wanna keep my fence. I'm sorry I haven't made it the last few years. I've just been working so much, and now I'm retired and I'm able to be here. So, I do not want that there. I mean, I do want a business to go in there. Midas Muffler's been empty for quite a while, but I just don't think that's the right business for that. area right there, because I know
Thank you.
people aren't. Oh, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so with that, I'll close the public hearing on this and bring it back to the commission. I'd like to follow up on the comments that Ms. Ayers said. The employee parking, where will the employees park?
So actually, Frank Coda again. So actually, all those spaces are for the employees. We have a walk-up window, but people will not be able to park and go order. It's meant for people walking up, taking transportation. Generally, we have 3 to 5 employees per shift, so we have, I think it's 9 spaces. So we actually plan so that one shift can come in, the other can go, and we're not imposing on other streets. Starbucks definitely does not want their employees walking to far distances. So that is actually the employee parking is what you're seeing on the site plan.
And it'll probably be signed as such.
Yeah, we're gonna sign it, absolutely.
Okay. And then I think this is a question probably for staff. You know, when a project comes in, you refer it out to the various departments. So my assumption is that this was referred out to the police department for traffic also, and accidents, and what the accidents rate are. And here comes Mr. Hennessy. Or actually, that's probably you, not police, huh?
Having anticipated this question this morning, I looked back at the crash record on the stretch of College between the southbound ramps and Cleveland Avenue. We have 2 crashes in the last 12 years on that entire segment. Everything else happened either at the intersection with the southbound ramps or at Cleveland Avenue, but in the segment between 2 crashes in the last 12 years.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Vice Chair?
Mr. Hennessy, can you come back for a sec? Yeah, I believe we've got some pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure improvements that are going to be in that area. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, I would say broadly in the area. Up the street on Cleveland Avenue at the, just south of Cottingtown Mall, we are currently under construction on the pedestrian and bicycle overcrossing that will be anticipated to be open at the end of 2027 or at the latest at the very beginning of 2028. We are currently also in contract with SMART to provide new overcrossing at the SMART tracks at Jennings Avenue. The pre-qualified teams have been determined and a request for proposals was released by SMART today. So we will be in contract for that by the end of the year also.
But there's not like bicycle lane improvements along College Avenue in front of this property?
College Avenue is currently identified. It's in the active transportation plan as a long-term goal, but we do not have a current project for that section of College Avenue.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, other questions? Commissioner Carter.
Yeah, just to piggyback on the Vice Chair's question, is there any way to anticipate how the area infrastructure improvements you just referenced might affect bicycle volumes on College?
I would anticipate that they would go down to the extent that they're there today. The bicyclists that we see on that section of College Avenue are infrequent because of the lack of infrastructure and as much on the sidewalk as they are in the street. I would suppose that some of them will have new alternatives to cross Highway 101 instead of needing to use the Guerneville Steel interchange or the College Avenue interchange. So they'll have different locations completely separated from traffic to do that. And we hope that many of them take advantage of that in lieu of separated or protected facilities at those interchanges.
Just anecdotally, that's my preferred route for picking up the SMART trail is coming down College from the JC neighborhood to pick up SMART. So maybe these other crossings will affect how I get there in the future.
You're a brave rider.
Okay, any other questions? So with that, if somebody would like to enter the resolution.
Okay.
Commissioner Cisco, as usual.
As usual. I'll move a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Santa Rosa approving a conditional use permit to allow a restaurant with drive-through service, walk-up ordering, and pickup service, and extended hours of operation from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week, for the property located at 131 College Avenue, APN 012-062-032, file number PRJ 23-013, and waive further reading of the text.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so that was moved by Commissioner Cisco, seconded by Commissioner Sanders. So we'll go ahead and start with Commissioner Cisco for comments.
I can make all the required findings on this project, and I'll be voting yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Duggan.
I actually am having a hard time deciding. I think this parcel has been vacant for a long time. I think it would be great to have a new business go in there, but I really do not believe that this is not going to create a traffic problem. And I think when it comes down to enforcing people turning right only, we don't have the police capacity to do that kind of enforcement. And I'm concerned that the neighbors will hear the cars idling and the cars playing the radio in line and the voices on the machine. And so I'm generally, people pretty much know that I'm generally not in favor of drive-throughs unless they're for something like a pharmacy where it makes sense not to get out of your car. So I'd like to hear what my fellow commissioners say.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Carter?
I don't know if I can help you, Vice Chair. I am having the same anxiety. I think it's the finding E, that the site is physically suitable, is the one that's difficult for me. It was observing the site and the amount of vegetation and separation there is. I think that's a benefit to the proposal, but observing the character of the nearest residential uses gives me pause. And although none of the noise, traffic impacts rise to a level of significance that would violate any of the city standards, I can't help but be concerned that locally it's going to be difficult for both the users of the site and the nearest neighbors. So I'm having difficulty with making the finding for finding E, that the site is physically suitable for the type and intensity of use.
Thank you. Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Sanders?
Yeah, I think I can make all the required findings and will support the project.
Thank you. Commissioner Horton?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm having a little angst as well about the drive-through and the idling and the traffic and radio that you said, but on balance, I can make all the required findings, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I think in terms of the traffic thing, if this is helpful, I mean, we've heard from the experts, so this is just, me anecdotally weighing in, but I do think, you look across the street, there's sort of the 7-Eleven complex. It's not a drive-through, but I would imagine it's pretty similar activity in terms of people pulling in, pulling out, wanting to go different directions. And my understanding is we haven't seen significant issues with that. That would have informed this study. So, but I can make all the required findings.
Thank you. And I also can make all the required findings and will be supporting the project. So I'm sorry I can't help. I'm sorry I can't help. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and do a vote.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Carter?
No.
Commissioner Cisco?
Aye.
Commissioner Horton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pardo is absent. Commissioner Sanders?
Yes.
Vice Chair Duggan?
No.
Chair Weeks?
Yes.
Let the record reflect that that motion passes.
Okay, so with that, Please note that this action is final unless an appeal is filed with the city clerk's office within 12 calendar days of today's decision pursuant to zoning code section 20-62.030. And with that, I'll go ahead and adjourn
Chair
this
Weeks?
meeting of the Planning Commission. And yes, Ms. Jones, sorry.
Just quickly, I believe that it is within 10 calendar days, not 12.
Oh, it says 10 here. What?
Okay.
Sorry.
I just want to make that clear for anybody in the audience.
Thank you.
The appeal needs to be
10
within.
calendar days, not 12. Thank you. Okay, so with that, we're adjourned.